A very good morning to my dear computer students. Let us start our new chapter today. We have completed chapter 9 and today we will be starting up with a new chapter, that is chapter number 8. This is part 1 of your data structures. That was part 2 of data structure, but that was present in your book, but this particular chapter will not be there in your book because it is in supplementary reader. Okay, so you need to take printout of the PDF that I am sending you, or you may arrange your supplementary reader also so that you may carry on with the work that I am teaching you in this chapter. Okay, so let us begin. So data structures 1 is basically the linear lists only. Okay, and these few topics or few pages, they were common in chapter 9 as well, and that has been covered and I have marked them also. Okay, so you can easily cover them when you are just looking here in this same chapter. Okay, so these are the contents that we'll be covering. See, we have already discussed this elementary data representation, different data structures. We have already discussed, so I'll be giving a little bit of overview again so that you may recall them. Okay, then operations that are allowed on the data structures. Okay, then the linear lists particularly we'll be dealing with, then linear list data structures and nested two-dimensional lists in Python. Okay, so list already we have covered in chapter 2 also, so it will be a little bit more enhancement in the list, and few topics will be similar as we have read in chapter 1 or 2. Okay, mainly 2. Fine. So let us start it. So this part we have already discussed what is data structure. It is just the copy of chapter 9. So data structure is basically to store the data. Okay, when we need to store the data inside the computer's memory, so how to store it? It is the way to store the data. Okay, the group of data of different data types which is stored in specific way. Okay, the way of storing data is actually the data structure. Like we have stacks, queues, linked list, trees, graphs. I have discussed these things in detail previously also. Okay, again the data structure is a physical representation, means how we are going to store the data, that is clearly defining the way. Okay, that is your data structures actually. Okay, so different types of data structure we have discussed it, like simple data structures, they are array or linear structures we can say, and complex data structures, they are divided into two categories, linear data structure and non-linear data structure. So linear data structure we have studied in detail, stack, queues and linked list introduction has been given to you in chapter 9 starting part. Okay, and then here are non-linear data structures also, there are trees. So only we have to cover stacks and the linear list. Okay, so queues, linked lists and trees, they are not a part of your syllabus. Okay, so we will be having just an introduction about them, and that has been given in chapter 9. Okay, so if you are not clear about them, you can go through that video again. Fine. Some inbuilt linear data structures that are given or defined by the Python are lists, tuples and dictionaries. Okay, so next is linear list arrays. We have read it also, because in the form of arrays, whatever elements we are storing will be of similar data elements. Like we are going to store the name of all the students, we are going to say collect the age of all the students, all the names of the students, okay, marks obtained by all the students. So when we need to store the homogeneous data, then we are going with this linear array, or we can say linear lists. Okay, so stack we have read already. Okay, in detail we have read and we have implemented it through program also. And the principle of stack is LIFO. LIFO stands for last in first out. Okay, so whatever element has entered the stack will be the first to leave the stack. Okay, then next is your queue. Next data structure is your queue. That principle is FIFO. FIFO stands for first in first out, and like we are standing in a queue to take the ticket at the counters, so the person who is at the first will be leaving first. So first in first out, this is the principle of the queue. So depending upon our requirement only, we need to go to select the data structure, whether the data which is the latest one, that is if we are in need, Then we'll go with stack. If we are in need of that data that has entered the entered your organization, or we can say wherever you are implementing this principle, first in first out, means the person who has entered first, or the data that has entered first is of importance for you, then you should go with queue. Okay, and if you want to access it randomly, means one after another, okay, so you need to provide links to each other. So this is a node, and this node is having two parts. One is the information part, and next is the pointer part, that is pointing to the next data in the linked list that we have to refer. Okay, so for that explaining it, I have taken an example of a doctor. Like there are patients on the bed, and the doctor has to visit these patients one by one. So nurse is telling doctor, sir, please start from bed number 6, then go to bed number 10, then go to bed number 1, and so on you can move. Okay, so if the doctor is only able to move in forward direction, he is not able to come to the patient who he has visited previously. So in that case, if we want the backward reference also, means doctor can go in forward as well as in backward direction. In that case, we will be using this doubly linked list. Doubly linked list, this is your singly linked list in which the doctor can only move in forward direction to check the patients. Here in this case, the doctor can move back also to check the previous patient again. Okay, so this is the doubly linked list. Actually, we don't have any concern with the doctor or a patient. Here we are just dealing with the data and the location of the next data to which we have to point. Okay, so this is the information we have here. Some information is written here, then we need to read this information which is not in sequence actually. Okay, so linked list is there to access the data in random manner. Okay, so whatever data you are in need of, like in CD player, you have the right to access the song number 5 first, then you can play song number 10. But in when you are playing the songs in tape recorder, in that case you need to forward it, means you have to move sequentially. So queues and stack, they are offering you the data to be accessed sequentially, but in this you can randomly select the data which you want to refer with the help of the reference pointer. I hope it is clear to you. Next is your trees. When you need to store data in hierarchical fashion, means there is a particular order, and the topmost node I told you is known as the root node, and the nodes that are at the bottom further, which we have not extended in the diagram, will be your leaf nodes. Okay, so when we have a fixed order, there is a fixed hierarchy of the data according to which we have to use it, then we should go with trees. Okay, so there are many other data structures also, like graphs are also there, but they are not a part of your syllabus. So just the introduction part of these data structures is important for you. Okay, next topic is your operations in data structure. This also we have covered. So up to here, it is all same in chapter 9. I don't know why they have given it twice in the book, because it is a part of supplementary readers, so they might be confused, or they want to create a contact means connection between the two chapters. That is why they have repeated these things. So anyhow, we have discussed these things, what all operations we can do on the data structure. We can insert the element, we can delete element, or we can search the element, we can visit the elements, or we can process the element. We can say we can arrange the elements, we can combine the elements that are present inside the data structure. And what are the data structures? These are your data structures: linear list arrays, stacks, means you can insert a new data into it, you can remove a new data, means remove a data out of it. Like you want to remove this plate, so firstly you need to remove these two plates, then you can remove this plate. Then if you want to insert a new plate, you can insert at the very top. So insertion, deletion, and accessing of the data, and many other operations like merging the two data structures. See, one most important thing I just want to add here, that you cannot add two different data structure elements together. Means you want कि जो stack है उसके elements को हम queue के elements के साथ merge कर दे, that will not be possible. So if you want to merge together two data structures, then definitely you need to keep a check whether the two data structures are of similar kind or not. Okay, then only the merging is possible. Okay, so these were the operations. Now from here the chapter is starting actually, which is new to you. Actually not new to you, because these things you have read in class 11 also, so it is just a recapitulation of it. So kindly go along with me for revision. Okay, so a linear data structure, why it is saying linear? Because we will be moving in a fixed direction sequentially. Okay, that is why he is saying the linear data structures. Okay, so arrays are one of the simplest data structures that are very easy to traverse, search and sort. Means if you want to apply sorting, we know sorting is arranging of data in a particular order, either in ascending or in descending order. If you want to search the data, if you want to process the data, you want to read the data, then operations we have read that we can perform these operations on the given data structures. Okay, so it is very simple data structure to go with. And how to calculate the length of the list, so that will depend upon the upper bound and the lower bound plus 1. See, if you have this kind of array with you, or we can say linear list with you, so you have seen that the last element is 15 and the first element is your -7. So upper bound is this one and lower bound is this one. So how to calculate the length of this linear list? For that, 15 minus -7. Why -7? Because the element index is -7. These are the indexes. Okay, so 15, these are not elements, these are the indexes. Okay, so 15 minus -7 plus 1. So how many elements are there in this particular linear list? There are 23 elements. Okay, so in this way we are knowing the length of the linear list that we are using, or we can say number of elements inside this linear list. Okay, so a linear data structure, linear list data structure we are talking about. He is saying that you have read this data type in 11th class, and then uske baad he is trying to say we have performed the program also to implement the linear list. Okay, then now next topic is searching in a linear list. How to perform search operation in the linear list. Actually, we have already discussed these two algorithms, linear search and binary search, in class 11 also. So it is just a recapitulation for you. So linear search or the sequential search is one and the same thing, and there is an array in which the data is there, and you need to perform the searching of the particular element inside that particular given list. Okay, and the index will be known to you, so very easily we can see where the element is actually lying in. Okay, so CTR is a variable which has been assigned. The lower bound means the first index, like it is 0. Okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So in total how many elements are there? So for that you need to apply one formula that we have just discussed. How to like it is having, you can see it is having 5 elements as I have drawn the figure. So let me put the elements inside it, like I am putting elements. Okay, so how many elements are there? These are in the sequential order I have written. So 5 elements are there, you can see. But how we can calculate? With the help of formula we have read. So for that formula is upper bound minus lower bound plus 1. So upper bound is 4 in this case, and lower bound is 0 in this case, and plus 1 we will be doing. So number of elements will be 5. I hope it is clear to you. So by using this formula, upper bound minus lower bound plus 1, we can calculate the number of elements present inside the given list. Okay, so CTRL is a variable which is telling you the lower bound. So we have initialized this variable CTRL with L. L is, let us say, 0 in this case. Okay, so now we are trying to search the element, like we want to search element this 3 inside this list, whether this is present inside this list or not. So we need to repeat this step 3 and 4. Okay, till the CTRL reaches 0 to 4. Okay, so it reaches up to upper bound. Okay, CTRL is greater than upper bound, means it should be greater than, CTRL is greater than the upper bound. Okay, until it is greater. Okay, then up to that we have to search. Okay, fine. So AR CTRL initially is 0, so we are comparing AR, this is array AR. okay, and the 0th index is pointing to the variable, the value 1, okay. So initially it is 1, AR0 is 1, okay. So item we are searching is 3, okay, and but AR0 is having 1, so 1 is equal to 3, no. So what we will do, we will increment CTR is equal to CTR plus 1. So it was 0 initially CTR, okay, and now it has been incremented by 1, so it is 1 now, okay. So now again, so end of fourth step, again it will come here. So now CTR is 1 and CTR is 2 this time. So it is comparing 2 with the 3 that we are going to search, so it is not equal, so it will again increment CTRL, okay. Now it will be this time it will be 2, okay. CTRL initially it was 1, now it has become 2, okay. So now ARCTR it is 2 this time, so ARCTR2 is 3, so now 3 is equal to 3, so this time we have found the element and it will print search is successful and we have found the element, okay. So in this way and if by chance we are trying to search one element that is not inside this given array, so it will never match, this condition will never be true, so it will never print search successful. So when this condition will become false and we are now greater than, okay, means CTRL is now greater than the upper bound, so it will ultimately come here and the condition will be satisfied and will print search unsuccessful, okay. So this is how we search the element in the linear array. So this is the program for the same, okay. This is the function definition for searching the element linearly. You can see the same program has been written here, okay. So it is searching inside the length of the array and until the item has not been found, it will keep on incremented, and when the element is found, so that time, see, until unless the element is not equal, it will keep on incremented, but when this element is equal, okay, so this increment will not be done, so directly it will come here and it will return the index of that particular item, okay, where it has been found, okay. So this is the main part from where the execution will start, okay. So this was the definition, function definition, okay, for the linear search. This is the function name and you will find the same type of function in the function main function also. This is the main part. So you are trying to ask the user which element you want to search, okay. So int is to check whether the user is entering the number only, na. So whatever input you are giving, okay, so it will take it. And what this step is doing actually, we are initializing the array with the 0 values, okay. Why initialization is important? Why? Because we are not interested in taking up the garbage value. So array is a collection of similar type of data. So you have seen that initially this array was empty, then I have inserted these elements. So initially every location of the array will be storing 0, okay. So initialization is important so that no garbage value is there. So everywhere initially we are storing 0 and then we will override this values, means 0 will be overwritten by these values, okay. So initially initialization we are doing, so whatever element you are having, we are putting it, making it 0, okay. So after that you can see it is putting elements inside it, okay. You are entering the data, okay. So we are, for that we are having a loop and we are entering the data inside this loop as we have maintained this array, you have seen. So initially it was like this, then we have entered the data, now the array is like this. Now he is asking next in step key which element is to be searched, like in this case we have searched element 3, okay. So here it is asking which element you want to search, okay. So you will provide the value 3, so array and the item, okay. So that particular array that we have made, so that array and the item that is to be searched from this array will be passed on. So this is a function call and it will take you to the function definition, where you can see the function definition. Here it will be, you can see this is your function definition. So you will ultimately get connected here and this all will be executed, and finally when the location of the item has been found, and then it will return it to index variable, and that index, if it is a non-zero value, then it will definitely print it at this particular position. We have found the item that you are trying to search, like this 3 was present at index 2. Okay, you can see here. So index 2, this was 3 was present at index 2. So when we are able to find it, so it will return index 2. Okay, so this index variable will have 2 inside it, and if index means it is a non-zero value, if always carries values in the form of 0 or 1. 0 means false and 1 means true. So even if you are writing 4, even if you are writing 3, it every time when a non-zero value you have, that or every time it means 1. So 0 means 0 and any non-zero value means 1 only. Okay, so if index means you are returning a non-zero value, then it will definitely print the index of that particular element where you have found it. Okay, otherwise it will print sorry that we have not found your element. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you, and give a revision to it, and then we'll continue further. Thank you so much.